Okay, hello class. So we are going to start with the topic of layoff and retrenchment. Both these topics, they have some connectivity. So first of all, let me start with the layoff portion. If you will follow this in your book, the definitions of these two terms will be given in definition portion of the act. And but in case this question comes, you have to start your answer from layoff. So layoff now in this case is defined under section 2 triple K, which means when the workers are not given any work, any job temporarily. There is some temporary halt because of which you are not in a position to give any work to the workers. Like this present lockdown position is similar to that. Because of this temporary lockdown, workers are not being given jobs, workers are sitting at home, employers also cannot go on their work, and but that does not mean that their employer employee relationship has terminated. They still are your workers, they still are on your roles, but they are not working and they are not able to work. But there is slight difference from the present lockdown situation and the layoff which is there as per the Industrial Disputes Act, which I'll be sharing with you soon. So the definition of section 2 triple K says layoff means any failure, any refusal, or any inability of the employer to give you any employment. And this refusal, this failure to give any kind of job is with regard to any worker who is on your muster rolls. Now, what is muster roll here? Muster roll here is like we people, we teachers have your attendance register. We record your attendance there. Just like that, there is a muster roll for the workers in the factory. Secondly, this worker is the one who has not been retrenched. Now, retrenchment is something which we will cover in the later topics. So, you are not a retrenched worker, and secondly, your name is there on the rolls of the industrial establishment. So, in case this is a reason, and because of some temporary reasons like the employer has some shortage of coal, shortage of power, they have a huge accumulation of finished stock, and they do not want to continue with the production, or there is some breakdown of machinery because of which this work cannot be started, or there is some natural calamity like there is some drought, there is some kind of flood, etc. There's some problem because of which work cannot be started. So because of all these reasons, if the employer is not in a position to give you work, in that case you are said to be laid off. And as I shared with you earlier, laying off does not mean that employer employee relationship has come to an end. It is only suspended work, it is not a termination of the employer employee relationship. But legally speaking, a layoff to be layoff must have all these essentials. So these essentials are the same thing which I just discussed with you in the definition portion. Moving on, this difference we'll take up later on. Now we start with the legal provisions of layoff and retrenchment. So legal provisions are split up into two parts. As per the Act, we have two kinds of industrial establishments, which are covered under Chapter 5A and Chapter 5B of the Act, BEAR Act. So in that case, we need to understand what are Chapter 5A industrial establishments and what are Chapter 5B industrial establishments. So simply it depends upon the strength of workers that you have. So in case number of workers in your industrial establishment are minimum of 50 but not more than 100, then you are Chapter 5A industrial establishment. And in case number of workers they are 100 or more, in that case you are covered under Chapter 5B. So there are some different kind of provisions for these two categories of industrial establishments. So we'll move one by one. So first I'll cover up the legal provisions of Chapter 5A industrial establishment, means having at least 50 workers and not more than 100 workers. Less than 100 workers. So one by one the provisions are: first, whenever any worker is laid off for the reason that we just discussed above, then it is a right of the worker as per section 25C, that it is not his fault. He should not be put to any economic hardship. He also need money for his livelihood. So in that case, you are not giving him work. That is why he is not working with you, but you are supposed to give him compensation. And that compensation will be given as per the rules that we'll discuss later. But to claim this compensation, there must be fulfillment of these three conditions. First is, as I discussed earlier, you must be on the muster rolls. That means a worker who was working with you, but his name was not there on muster rolls. That means he was just a casual kind of a worker. Secondly, the worker who will be given this compensation will be only one who has completed at least 1 year of continuous service. So what is continuous service? I'll take up in the later topics. Third, you were not a casual worker. You were not a badli worker. It's not badly, it is badli worker. You are not a badli worker. That means you are not working in place of somebody else. So somebody who is working in place of somebody else cannot be given the benefit of layoff compensation. But there is one exception to this also, which is that in case a badli worker has completed 1 year of continuous service, even he will not be anymore called as a badli worker. He will also become like a normal worker. That means then he will also be eligible for this layoff compensation. Third is how much compensation? So this compensation will be 50% of your salary. And salary here means the basic wages and the DNS allowance. So whatever you were getting in the form of basic wages and DNS allowance, 50% of the same will be given to you for all the days when you were laid off. But it will not include the weekly holidays like Sunday, etc. Next is how much is the maximum period of the layoff compensation. Now you cannot go on and on for layoff. Layoff as per law can be to the maximum of 45 days in a period of 12 months. So in 1 year time span, you can give a maximum of 45 days layoff. Now in case problem is like that even beyond 45 days, you are not in a position to give work to your workers, then you have to shift from layoff to retrenchment. That I'll take up in the next forthcoming topic. So now, in case this situation came and the layoff was to go beyond 45 days, in that case, employer can now lawfully retrench the worker. But in that case, whatever layoff compensation was already given to the employee or the worker, that layoff compensation will be adjusted towards the retrenchment compensation. Now, what is this adjustment factor will be covered up when we'll discuss the retrenchment compensation topic. Now, there are certain situations where there will not be any entitlement of the compensation as we discussed above. So that will be first. So sometimes it so happens that your employer has different industrial establishments, or he has different units of work. He is not in a position to give work in your present job, but he is giving you some alternative job. So in case some alternative job is offered to you, you are supposed to accept that job. And in case you refuse that alternative employment, then you will not be eligible for any layoff compensation, because he's not laying off, he is giving you a job. But the preconditions for this situation will be that whatever alternative employment is being offered to you, it should not be at a very far off place. It should be maximum within 5 miles radius of your town or your village where you were working. Secondly, that alternative job which is being offered to you, that should not require any additional skill, any special skill, or any old experience. Now you don't have job experience of this new employment offered to you, then how can you work there? Then you can legally refuse. But in case no special skill is required for this new job, then you should accept this alternative job. Thirdly, the wages being offered to you should be on the same amount which you were getting in the earlier job. So in case these three situations are there, you are offered employment in alternative place and that is not far off. In that case, you should accept that. And if you refuse that, you will neither get this job because you're not taking up this job, and you will also not get any layoff compensation. But where the employer is not giving you any alternative job, then he has to give you layoff compensation. Second situation where you will not be entitled for any layoff compensation will be, uh, there's one condition that whosoever is a laid off worker, he has to present himself for the work every day. He has to offer himself. He has to come every day on the workplace, mark his attendance, and then he'll be told whether the job is there, work is there or not. Like in case there was some machinery breakdown. So you were asked, आपको काम पे आना है, जॉब पे आना है, आके एक बारी बता देंगे आपको मशीनरी ठीक हो गई है तो आप काम कर लेना, अदरवाइज ले ऑफ हो जाएगा आपका. तो आप अगर आए ही नहीं, how will the employer come to know that you are available? So you have to present yourself and you have to wait for some time, and then employer will tell you whether work will be given today or it will be a layoff day. Thirdly, if the layoff was done because there was some strike going on or some slowdown strike was going on in any other part of the establishment. So if the reason of layoff is strike, etc. going on, then a worker will not be eligible for any kind of compensation. The next provision is, as we discussed earlier, the workers who are laid off, they have to present themselves daily for the work. So when they present themselves, then entries have to be made in the muster rolls. Their attendance has to be marked there. So laid off worker will be coming, so you should be there to mark your attendance there. So these are the situations, provisions which have to be followed for layoff. And in between this, earlier I mentioned a word called continuous service, that you are eligible for this compensation only if there is some continuous service of the worker. Now, what is that? Continuous service. Continuous service means you were working uninterrupted in the same job, and that means there was continuous work going on and you were presenting yourself, you were working for at least 1 year continuous service, but you might have gone on some leave, some because of some sickness or because of some authorized leave or because of accident, strike, lockout, cessation of work, which was not because of your fault, and because of that you were not working. So those interruptions will not be considered, they will be ignored. Secondly, worker will be deemed to be in continuous service in case he fulfills these two conditions. Now, you may be a worker working below the ground in a mine, or you may be any other worker. In case you are a worker working in a mine which is below the ground, then 1 year continuous service means in the period of preceding 12 months, you have at least worked for 190 days. Secondly, in case of any other work which is not a mine, then you must have worked at least for 240 days. But in some cases, worker might not have joined 1 year earlier. He might have joined recently and only 6 months have expired since you're joining. In that case, the same time period will be halved. 95 days for mine, 120 days for other work. So when this 240 days or this 190 days period will be counted, in that counting period, this period will not be ignored. That means it will also be presumed to be period of work. Like you were going on leave with wages. You have done that annual leave with wages. Okay. Next, there was some accident because of which you were temporarily absent. That time will also be added. You are a female and you have availed any maternity leave which is not more than 12 weeks, that time period will also be added. Or if in the last year also you were laid off as per some agreement or as per some standing order, etc., then that laid off period will also be counted as your service period. So these are the provisions which are to be followed for chapter 5A, industrial establishments. Now coming to chapter 5B, industrial establishments, that means where the number of worker is 100 or more than that. Now because size of worker is more, so in this case some more stringent or hard provisions have been made that employer cannot just like that go for layoff. He has to fulfill some additional requirements. Now what are these additional requirements? First is there are certain prohibitions of layoff under this section. First is whenever you want to go for layoff in case of chapter 5B industrial establishments, First of all, you have to get a prior permission of the appropriate government or some specified authority. And in these next three situations, you can go even without taking prior permission. So these are in case you are laying off only badli workers or casual workers. Secondly, you are laying off because there is a shortage of power or there's some natural calamity. Or thirdly, in case it is a mine and you are laying off because of some fire, flood, or some gas explosion in the mine. So in these three situations, you can lay off even in case of Chapter 5B industrial establishments without seeking any permission from the government. Except these three situations, you always have to seek prior permission and then lay off your workers. Next is the application for getting this permission to lay off. It has some prescribed form. You have to fill up that prescribed form. You have to state the clear reasons why you want to lay off your workers, and a copy of this application has to be served on your workers also to whom you want to lay off. Thirdly, this application for permission has been given, and now in case employer in this case employer will have to make this application within 30 days of commencement of layoff. That means you may start with the layoff, and side by side you have to apply for seeking permission, and in case you get that permission, then within 30 days this task has to be done. Now you have applied for layoff, and appropriate government has got this application of yours, and then now they want to proceed further. To proceed further, they will consider all these aspects mentioned here in fourth point. So before giving an order of granting or refusing the layoff, they will consider all these aspects. In your book you will get a detailed version of all these sub points, but you will briefly mention all of them because otherwise question will get very lengthy. So first of all, they will inquire into your application. They will give you an opportunity of being heard to find out your claim is genuine or not. They will consider whether your case is genuine or you just want to lay off your worker just like that. So after looking into these matters, then they will decide whether the permission for layoff should be granted or refused. So whatever is their decision, they will communicate you with the same. But in this case, in case you do not get permission within prescribed time period, then it will be presumed that the order has been granted. That means if you do not get any answer from the appropriate authority, then you can presume that the permission has been granted. And whenever this permission has been granted, then this order will be binding for 1 year. That means whatever layoff you want to do in 1 year time period from this order's date, you can do that continuously. So it will be binding for 1 year. But like maybe in this case, government refuses you permission, then what you can do, you think that your case was genuine, but you were not given permission to lay off. So in that case, you can even ask for review of the order, and you can request the appropriate government to once again look into their order. Now, these are the situations where layoff in these situations will be said to be illegal layoff. Illegal layoff is first when application was required to be made as per section 25M, but you went for layoff without getting any filing any application. Or secondly, you were not allowed to continue with the layoff beyond a period. You went for a layoff for 30 days. You also side by side applied for the permission, and in between you were not allowed to continue with the layoff, and you went on continuing with the layoff. This is also illegal layoff. Thirdly, permission was refused by the government and you still went for layoff. So in all these situations, three situations, the layoff, if started, will be considered illegal layoff. So in all these situations, the worker will be entitled for compensation on the same ground as we did earlier. And the same situation, same provision for alternative employment will go here also. And in this case, there's additional provision of illegal layoff. For that, there will be a penalty, which may be a 1 month imprisonment, or it may be a fine up to rupees 1,000 or both. So this is all about the provision of layoff. In your book, you can get more details about this. But layoff will generally does not come independently. It mostly comes along with retrenchment. So we are done with one part of the topic of layoff and retrenchment.